Prof, looking at our politics and what has played out, not just today or in the last 6 years or 5 years, in the last 21, is this where you expect us to be now, Prof?
Well, I think this is a work in progress. The question of the Nigerian political system, it's problematic. It's an ongoing issue. You recall that I was a member of the Confab in 2014, and the question of the nature of the polity and what needs to be done to ameliorate its dysfunctionality resonated very loudly at the Confab. I remember the Confab came up with over 600 recommendations. Unfortunately, nothing has been done to date to effectuate those recommendations, which will have made the Nigerian polity a little bit easier to understand, to enhance its functionality. The word restructuring might be problematic to some people, but to most objective observers, the system we are operating is very dysfunctional and counterproductive. So we might, if we don't want to touch any of the recommendations of the Confab, then at least you need another forum, not the National Assembly. The National Assembly is to make laws for the peace, order, and good governance of Nigeria. It's not a constituent assembly. It is neither the place nor the role or function of the National Assembly to give us a constitution. The constitutions are higher than workaday legislatures. So we have to get things first, recognize the inadequacies of the present arrangement and create a forum where we can redress the imbalances and the dysfunctionality, as I put it, of what we have. Politics, like Lenin once pointed out, is an expression, concentrated expression, he called it, of economics. If you look at the Nigerian economy, the economy is nosediving. I know you spoke to my friend before bringing me on. I didn't have the opportunity of listening to Bismarck Riwani, but he's the guru on this question of economics. And if Nigeria wants a well-functional economic setup, we have to tackle the economic issue because the law is superstructural on the base, which is the economy. But as I said, the problematic of Nigeria is multifaceted, multifarious, very complex, and it takes a large heart to really recognize the inadequacy of the system that we are operating. So if there's a consensus that there's an intolerable level of dysfunctionality, then we must, one way or another, confront that issue and create a viable framework, move from the prevailing paradigm to a paradigm that will win the confidence of the preponderant majority of Nigerians, the various ethnic groups or nationalities, over 400 of them, that constitute Nigeria, so that we give the Nigerian experiment a shot in the arm. How we are going to go about it, we might continue to debate, but it's not just a question of cosmetics. It's not just a question of amending the Constitution. So for me, it's more fundamental, because the Constitution determines who gets what, when, and how, and in fact, how much. So there are all sorts of contending issues. If I recall rightly, the Confab had a constellation of stars, more than 40 retired generals. Professors there were quite a sizable number. Former governors, deputy governors, judges, name it. I don't know if we can come up with such an arrangement again in terms of the constellation of stars that constituted membership of the confab. But whatever happens, we need either to take a fresh look at the recommendations of the confab so that we can elicit and decipher some of the urgent problems of the day so that, as we say in Nigeria, we can move the nation forward. That, for me, is the basic minimum that needs to be done in order for us to even celebrate 12th of June, because that is what we are talking about. 27 years thereafter, what has changed? Abiola is dead, and a stadium or whatever has been named after him. But the problematic of Nigeria is deepening. It's not, there's little amelioration that has been done. So the basic issues confronting the Nigerian polity subsist, and we can't run away from that fact.